Hello, welcome to Quantum Mind Hub Stories. Please remember to share your thoughts, perspectives, and any lessons you pick up in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share with friends. Now, let's dive in. Maya stands at a cold bus stop, cradling her baby boy, Noah, against her chest. She's tugging her coat closer, trying to shield him from the biting wind. Commuters are lost in their own worlds. A sudden hush falls when a sleek black sedan slows to a stop nearby. The passenger side window glides down, and out of nowhere, she sees him, Lucas, the billionaire CEO who was once her husband. His gaze locks onto her face like he's seeing a ghost. Maya's heart hammers. She'd hoped never to cross paths with Lucas again, especially not under these circumstances. But he's here, his striking eyes flitting between her and the baby. She notices confusion flickering across his expression, then something deeper, maybe regret. She tightens her grip on Noah and looks away, refusing to bow to the tension. She recalls the last time she saw Lucas, full of heartbreak and exhaustion, but also a spark of fierce independence. He calls out, "Maya," in a voice that used to make her feel safe. Yet now, it sends a jolt of pain through her chest. The bus approaches. Its rumbling engine announces it's ready to take her away from this confrontation. But she doesn't board. She just stands there, feeling her pulse in her throat. Lucas steps out of the car, letting the door slam. For a second, it's like the air around them freezes, leaving only the echo of old memories. Maya notices the paparazzi lurking across the street. She senses their cameras snapping. With her chin lifted, she chooses silence. She doesn't owe him an explanation. Not for the past, not for Noah, and certainly not for why life brought her to this bus stop on this day, at this exact moment, crossing paths with the man who once promised her forever. Lucas stands a few steps away from Maya, transfixed by the little boy clinging to her shoulder. There's a flicker of recognition in Lucas's eyes as he studies the child's features, so many echoes of his own reflection. He attempts to speak, but his throat feels tight. The wind whips through the streets, carrying an unsettling chill that mirrors the discomfort between them. Maya stares at him, noticing how time has only sharpened his confident demeanor. He looks powerful, from his tailored suit to his polished shoes. But there's a vulnerability in the way he can't tear his gaze from Noah. It's as if he's searching for answers in the child's eyes. Maya fights the urge to let him see her tremble. She's worked too hard to rebuild her life after their toxic marriage ended. There's no way she'll crumble now. Lucas finally manages, "Maya, is he?" His voice trails off. He can't bring himself to finish that question. She offers him no easy reassurance. Instead, she adjusts Noah's little hat and whispers, "His name's Noah." The words hang in the air, loaded with meaning. She neither confirms nor denies the paternity. It's a simple introduction, but there's an unspoken wall between them, built from years of anger, betrayal, and heartbreak. Passers-by glance curiously at the tense scene. A few notice Lucas, someone they've probably seen in magazines and financial news. He clears his throat, trying to regain composure. The relentless questions in his mind churn. Why didn't she tell me? Why is she here, at a bus stop? What happened to the strong, ambitious artist I remember? Maya senses his confusion, but she's learned the cost of trusting him. She stays silent. Meanwhile, the paparazzi get closer, capturing every second. Lucas's driver stands awkwardly by the car, uncertain whether to intervene. And still, the real question remains unasked. Does he already know the truth but can't handle hearing it? Maya remembers the day she learned she was pregnant. It was right before their divorce was finalized. She was alone in a cramped studio apartment, flipping through job ads, feeling betrayed and lost. She vowed to protect her child from the painful cycle of emotional neglect she endured with Lucas. Telling him back then felt impossible. Now, as she stands face to face with him, she's not sure where to start. Lucas swallows hard and tries to speak again. "Noah, that's a nice name." His voice is barely above a whisper, and there's a tremor to it. He looks like he wants to say 1,000 things, but the words refuse to form. Maya, wanting to shield Noah from the heavy atmosphere, shifts him on her hip and glances down the street for the next bus. The last thing she wants is an extended conversation filled with accusations or apologies. Lucas dares to step closer. He gently reaches toward Noah, but Maya instinctively moves back. There's a flash of hurt in Lucas's eyes that he tries to mask with a confident nod. He's used to control, to making deals, issuing orders, and getting results. But in this moment, he realizes he can't just snap his fingers to fix everything. The reality of fatherhood, if that's what Noah represents, hits him like a wave. People keep gawking. A few even pause as though they sense a drama unfolding. Maya's heart pounds. She notices the pitying looks from strangers. She hates that they might see her as a victim, but she also feels a sting of fury toward Lucas for cornering her in public. With her voice trembling slightly, she says, "I've got somewhere to be." And that's it, her final statement. The name of the baby, his identity, it's all they share for now. She turns away, leaving Lucas standing there, grappling with the simple fact that the boy is named Noah and he's not sure what that truly means for them all. Lucas follows Maya down the sidewalk, trying not to come off as desperate. "Let me at least give you two a ride," he offers, scanning her expression to see if there's any chance she might say yes. Maya hesitates, not because she wants his comfort, but because she's weighed down with groceries and Noah's bag. The bus is late, and the crowd around them feels invasive. She finally sighs, nodding once. Lucas quickly opens the back door of his sedan. His driver, used to silent protocols, stands at attention. Lucas helps Maya settle Noah in the seat, then slips in on the other side. The tension inside the car feels suffocating. The engine hums softly, but no one speaks. Maya focuses on the city lights rushing by. Lucas keeps glancing at Noah's tiny hand. He wonders if he should be asking questions, but he's afraid of the answers. At one point, Lucas musters the courage to say, I didn't know." Maya cuts him off with a cold stare. "You never asked," she replies. The driver catches glimpses of them in the rearview mirror, sensing the storm in their silence. Lucas's mind races through all the times he might have brushed off Maya's calls or text messages, too absorbed in board meetings and acquisitions to realize what was slipping through his fingers. They reach Maya's stop, a modest apartment complex in a neighborhood far from the upscale life they once shared. Lucas steps out to open her door. She thanks him with a curt nod, carefully unbuckles Noah, and walks away without looking back. He stands there, watching mother and child disappear into a dimly lit hallway. A tide of regret washes over him. The skyscrapers in the distance remind Lucas of the empire he built, a fortress that never felt so empty until now, as he faces the silence left behind by a simple car ride. Lucas returns to his towering office building with the city spread out below like a glittering tapestry. Usually he relishes this view, it's a testament to his power and success. But tonight, the glass and steel skyline feels like a mocking reminder of what he might have lost. He can't stop replaying the image of Maya holding Noah, the way her face tightened when she mentioned his name. Lucas sinks into his leather chair, trying to bury himself in work. But the financial reports and board memos blur into nonsense. He presses the intercom, summoning his personal assistant. She finds him staring out the window, lost in thought. "Sir, is everything all right?" she asks, genuinely concerned. Lucas forces a thin smile. "I need information," he says quietly, almost as if he's ashamed to ask. "There's someone from my past. Her name is Maya. I need to know how she's doing, where she's been living, what she's been up to." The assistant nods, accustomed to discreet tasks, though she senses this is different. There's a personal edge in Lucas's request that she's never heard before. He's rattled. When she leaves, he tries to focus on a stack of urgent documents. The phone rings, a potential investor from overseas. But Lucas finds himself muttering platitudes without truly listening. His mind is stuck on Maya's defiant stare and the small face peeking out from under that wool cap. After the call, he walks around his office, reading headlines about himself on the walls, magazine covers proclaiming him a visionary, a titan of industry, a self-made billionaire. None of it brings him the comfort it used to. Tonight, all he sees is the loneliness he's built around himself. He wonders if it's too late to break through the fortress he constructed to keep love at bay. Lucas's private investigator, a meticulous woman named Serena, hands him a neatly bound folder. "I've got everything," she says softly. Lucas holds his breath as he flips through the pages. The report details Maya's last couple of years. After leaving him, she moved to a cramped studio downtown, struggled as a freelance artist, and eventually found occasional work designing logos and illustrating children's books. There are receipts, addresses, and even a mention of hospital bills that hint at Noah's birth. Lucas's chest tightens with every line he reads. Serena clears her throat. "She's been trying to stay under the radar," she continues. "She doesn't seem to talk about her past. She mostly keeps to herself and the baby." Lucas stares at photos taken from a distance. Maya walking Noah in a stroller. Maya carrying groceries. Maya painting in a small community center. The images speak of a humble life, far removed from the opulence he once offered her. His mind reels, guilty questions circling. Why didn't I notice she was pregnant? Why did she leave without telling me? Did she think I wouldn't care? He bites his lip, recalling the final months of their marriage. He was consumed by power plays at the office, mergers, and expansions. Maya's voice had become a faint echo in the background. He feels an ache, like a bruise on his heart, as if realizing how deeply he'd dismissed her. Serena hesitates before adding, "One more thing, there's no record of her receiving any financial support. She's essentially been doing this on her own." The words pierce him. Lucas looks up, eyes blazing with determination. "Thank you, Serena," he murmurs, letting the folder fall shut. He's no longer just a distant onlooker. He's a father, and maybe it's time he finally acts like one, if Maya allows him the chance. Late that night, Lucas can't sleep. The city's lights blink through his penthouse windows, reminding him of the unstoppable machine he's built. His empire thrives on all hours momentum. Yet here he is, haunted by memories of Maya. He pours himself a glass of water and stands by the window, recalling the early days of their romance. They met at an art exhibit Maya had curated in a small gallery. She was vibrant, her eyes filled with passion for her craft. He remembers how she'd been the first person to see past his ambition, finding goodness in him. Back then, her laughter could fill a room. But as his business grew, he spent more time in board meetings than in their living room. Their dates became corporate dinners. Her art shows? He mostly missed those, too busy securing deals to notice her growing sorrow. Over time, the fractures deepened. She tried to tell him about the weight she was carrying, but he was buried under the hustle of success. Now, he's replaying every argument. Every night he stumbled into their apartment way past midnight, expecting her to wait up. She'd wanted a true partner, but his world revolved around expansions, acquisitions, and power lunches. The final straw was an argument over an art opportunity she'd received. He barely listened, brushing off her dreams as trivial. He told her, "I'm building an empire for us." But Maya saw it as a prison of his making. Lucas sets the glass down, his hand shaking slightly. He used to think money solved everything, that success would overshadow personal failings. But memories don't abide by bank balances. They creep in uninvited, gnawing away at confidence. He wonders when he truly lost her, and if their story might have a different ending if he'd cared enough to notice she was slipping away. Maya's final day in the penthouse plays in Lucas's mind like a fragmented reel. He recalls returning from a tense meeting, determined to brag about another business triumph, only to find her gone. The space felt cold, stripped of her warmth. The only thing left was a note that read, "I'm done trying, Lucas. Goodbye." He'd assumed it was another flare of anger, that she'd come back once she cooled down. But days turned to weeks and she never returned. Unknown to him, Maya was pregnant at the time. She'd discovered the test result a week earlier, hoping it would spur Lucas to slow down, to remember their love. Instead, she found herself alone. Her attempts to share the news were sidelined by his packed schedule. Exhausted from feeling invisible, she concluded the only way to protect her child was to leave. She fled quietly, determined to find her footing on her own terms. Lucas never followed. He was too proud, too convinced he was in the right, ignoring that gut feeling telling him something bigger was going on. By the time he realized this was serious, it was too late. He reached out with half-hearted attempts, quick texts, short voicemails, but she remained unreachable. His corporate obligations swept him away, and he let them, burying himself in work to ease the sting of abandonment. Reflecting on it now, Lucas realizes that Maya must have felt every door was shut, every emotional lifeline cut off. She'd wanted him to see her, to fight for her, but he never did. The memory is a stab of regret, an echo of the child he just discovered he has, a child who never knew him. That silent goodbye speaks louder than any words she could have screamed. The next morning, Lucas walks into a discreet clinic. He's carrying a small sample kit, a piece of Noah's hair he carefully collected when Maya wasn't looking in the car. Guilt twists in his stomach. He hates going behind Maya's back, but his mind won't rest without scientific proof. The fear that maybe he's grasping at illusions tugs at him. What if he's chasing a dream that doesn't exist? A few days later, the phone call from the lab arrives. The genetic test is conclusive. Noah is Lucas's son. The confirmation jolts him, part relief, part terror. There's no longer any room for doubt. He's a father, and the boy who inherited so many of his features is living in a rundown apartment, miles away from the penthouse that once belonged to them both. Lucas runs a shaky hand through his hair. He's used to controlling outcomes and dictating terms. But fatherhood is no business deal. It requires something he's never been good at: empathy, patience, time. His heart pounds with questions. Will Maya ever forgive me? Can Noah accept me? Is it too late to make things right? He stares at the lab results in disbelief. The official letterhead announces a truth he's managed to avoid for years. Emotions surge through him: remorse, sadness, and a spark of protectiveness he didn't know he had. Scenes flash in his mind: teaching Noah to ride a bike, reading bedtime stories, hearing the sweet sound of daddy. But overshadowing it all is the reality that he's missed the first year and more of his child's life. Lucas knows he has to step up. Even if Maya hates him, Noah deserves a father. He sets the paper down and exhales. No matter what it takes, he's determined to be there for his son. This time, he won't let pride or business overshadow the responsibility beating at his chest. Lucas decides to confront Maya, determined not to let another day pass without claiming his place in Noah's life. He makes his way to her shabby apartment building. The hallways smell of stale cigarettes and cooking oil, a far cry from the crisp marble lobbies he's used to. People whisper as they recognize him, some big-shot CEO in an expensive suit wandering these dingy corridors. He ignores the stares and knocks on Maya's door, heart pounding. She opens it warily, surprise flickering across her face. Before she can shut the door, Lucas says, "I know. About Noah." Maya's eyes flash. There's no immediate denial. She looks down, pressing her lips together, then opens the door wider to let him inside. The apartment is small but tidy, filled with sketches, paintbrushes, and baby toys. Noah babbles from a makeshift playpen in the corner. Lucas's voice is tight with emotion. "I'm sorry," he starts, swallowing hard. "I had to confirm for myself." Maya inhales sharply. She responds, "You weren't part of my life anymore. Why should you be part of his?" Her words sting. But Lucas stands his ground. "Because he's mine," he declares softly, glancing at the child who's now watching them with wide eyes. "I want to help. I want to be there." Maya scoffs. "Now you show up? After all this time? You have no idea how many nights I cried. How many jobs I lost. How many times I almost—" She stops herself, tears threatening. Lucas steps closer, but she raises a hand. "You don't get to walk in and demand things. You have no idea what it's been like for us." Lucas closes his eyes, hating himself for the pain he sees. "I can't change the past," he says, voice trembling. "But I won't abandon him now." Maya's silence is thick with tension, their confrontation charged with years of unresolved hurt. Neither is sure if there's a path forward, or if it's already too late. A few days later, Lucas calls Maya and offers what he believes is a golden ticket. A luxurious apartment in one of his new developments, a bank account for expenses, and the best child care services money can buy. "You don't have to live like this," he insists, gesturing around her cramped space. "Let me provide for you and Noah. He deserves everything." Maya listens, arms folded. She can't deny the temptation: a healthcare for Noah, a safe neighborhood, maybe some peace of mind. But she also remembers the gilded cage of their marriage. She pictures herself surrounded by wealth yet utterly alone, her voice drowned out by Lucas's corporate demands. So she shakes her head. "I'm not for sale," she says, voice steady. "We can figure out something else." Lucas grows frustrated, struggling to understand her refusal. He's always solved problems with money. "You're being stubborn," he says, pacing the small living room. Maya raises an eyebrow. "It's called independence," she counters. "I fought hard for it. I won't just sign it away." Noah fusses in the corner, and Maya goes to comfort him. Lucas sees the exhaustion on her face, the shadows under her eyes that speak of sleepless nights and unrelenting responsibilities. He doesn't want to admit it, but a pang of guilt gnaws at him. He's the one who left her to face all this alone. "I'm not trying to buy you," he finally murmurs, voice dropping to a gentler tone. "I just want to fix what I broke." Maya meets his gaze, and for a moment, sympathy glistens in her eyes. But she's grown used to standing on her own. She knows that stepping back into Lucas's orbit could cost her everything she's fought to build. So she quietly tells him, "Do you to respect my choices, not override them." And with that, she declines his offer once and for all. Just when Maya thinks the drama might simmer down, she's bombarded by flashing lights one morning as she leaves her apartment. Reporters push microphones in her face, shouting questions like, "Is it true Lucas fathered your child, and were you hiding the baby from him?" She clutches Noah tighter, heart racing. Neighbors gather in the hallway, eyebrows raised at the sudden circus. Maya manages to break free and hurry outside, only to find a crowd of paparazzi waiting. She shields Noah from the camera flashes, her mind reeling. It's obvious someone leaked their story. She suspects it wasn't Lucas. He wouldn't want negative press tarnishing his reputation. Still, she can't rule it out. One of them must have slipped a hint to the media. It could also be an opportunistic bystander who recognized Lucas in her building. The result is the same. Her private life is plastered on every gossip site. Across town, Lucas wakes up to frantic phone calls from his PR team. His face is splashed across tabloids with headlines like, "Billionaire's secret son?" He rushes to his office, launching damage control. In an emergency meeting, his advisors suggest a statement denying or confirming the rumors. But Lucas can't lie. Noah is his son, and the last thing he wants is to drag a toddler into a messy media war. Maya, cornered by reporters, feels humiliated. Strangers online are calling her a gold digger, a heartless woman. Others pity her as a victim. She hates both labels. She craves a moment of silence, but the news spreads too fast. Furious and exhausted, she locks herself inside her apartment, cradling Noah as she tries to drown out the world's clamor. Outside, the press keep pounding on her door. Her simple life is shattered, replaced by a spotlight she never asked for. Within days, the public narrative shifts. The media circles Maya's story like vultures, but many viewers find themselves empathizing with the young mother who seems to have been left in the shadows. Talk shows speculate about what kind of man would let his ex-wife raise their child alone while he soared to billionaire status. Hashtags emerge, championing Maya as a symbol of single mothers doing their best against stacked odds. Maya feels overwhelmed. She's grateful for the sympathy but also resentful of the intrusion. She never wanted her personal struggles to become a trending topic. And she knows how fickle public opinion can be. One moment they love you, the next they tear you down. Yet, the outpouring of concern brings a strange comfort. Messages flood her social media, fellow single parents sharing their stories of resilience and offering support. Lucas watches the situation unravel from his skyscraper office. His PR team scrambles to release statements about him stepping up for his son. They film a few compassionate sound bites for the press. But everything rings hollow to Maya, who sees them as just another form of damage control. She knows Lucas wants to protect his brand as much as he wants to claim his fatherhood. Amid the chaos, there's a small silver lining. A few local charities and community organizations approach Maya. They invite her to speak on panels about motherhood and the arts. She's hesitant at first, but something in her stirs. Maybe her story can help others. Maybe she can find purpose in this painful situation. After all, painting has always been her voice when words fail. Now, more people are paying attention to her than ever before. If she can redirect this attention to something meaningful, maybe some good can come out of this media frenzy. While Maya attempts to keep her head above the swirling media waters, she receives a surprising email from a rival CEO in Lucas's industry, someone named Damian Caldwell. She recognizes his name from business magazines. He's been a vocal competitor to Lucas for years. The message is polite, complimentary of her artwork, and contains an invitation, an opportunity to collaborate on a large-scale art installation for his newest corporate building. Maya reads it twice, suspicious of the timing. Why would a rival of Lucas suddenly reach out with such a lucrative commission? She considers ignoring it, not wanting to become a pawn in some corporate feud. But the offer is too good to dismiss outright. It's a chance to showcase her talents on a massive platform and earn enough to stabilize her life. She replies cautiously, agreeing to meet in a public setting to discuss details. When they meet, Damien proves surprisingly genuine, or at least he appears so. He expresses admiration for Maya's style and shows her sketches of a massive mural he wants installed in the lobby of his new headquarters. He seems keen on supporting her vision, whatever it may be. "I'm not offering charity," he insists. "I'm offering a stage for your brilliance. I want something unique, something only you can create." Maya hesitates, aware that Lucas might see this as an act of betrayal, given Damien's rival status. But does she owe Lucas any loyalty now? He had years to support her art and never showed real interest. Plus, she needs this chance. Noah's future can't hinge on her pride or fear of Lucas's reaction, so she takes a leap of faith, signing on. "Thank you," she tells Damien. "I won't let you down." Walking away, she can't shake the feeling that there's more to his motives. But for now, she'll focus on creating something meaningful, and maybe carve out a brighter path for her and her son in the process. One afternoon, Maya opens her mailbox to find a thick envelope from a high-profile law firm. The sight of it makes her stomach twist. She tears it open and reads, "Lucas has officially filed for joint custody of Noah." She drops the letter, her hands shaking with anger and a touch of fear. He never mentioned going the legal route. A million questions swirl. Is he trying to take Noah away? Is this some twisted power play? She calls him immediately, voice shaking. "Lucas, what is this? A custody petition? You told me you wanted to talk, to work things out." He sounds calm, too calm. "I do," he replies. "But my lawyers advised me that I need to establish legal rights. I'm not trying to take him from you." Maya's laugh is bitter. "So you blindsided me with paperwork instead of having a real conversation?" Lucas tries to explain that his attorneys pushed for swift action, especially in light of the media coverage. They fear negative press might complicate future negotiations. But to Maya, it feels like yet another example of him bulldozing her life with his wealth and resources. "We could have figured something out, Lucas," she says, her voice cracking. "But you went behind my back again." It stings to think of strangers in suits deciding Noah's future. For so long, it was just her and her baby, forging ahead despite the odds. Now, this legal drama threatens to overshadow everything, including her new art commission. She wonders if she can afford a decent lawyer to fight Lucas's high-powered team. The idea of losing custody or even sharing it on forced terms sends a tremor of panic through her. She holds Noah close that night, determined not to let fear paralyze her. If Lucas wants a legal battle, she'll do whatever it takes to protect her son. The day of the preliminary custody hearing dawns gray and cold. Maya walks into the courthouse, head held high, although her stomach churns with nerves. She's bracing herself for the onslaught of Lucas's formidable legal team. They've practically built a fortress of arguments to secure joint custody. But something shifts as she takes her seat. Just moments before the proceedings, a man in an impeccable suit slides into the seat next to Maya. He introduces himself as Charles Grant, a high-powered attorney with an almost legendary reputation. Confused, Maya whispers, "I can't afford you." He gives her a subtle smile and leans in. "You don't have to. Someone's taking care of the fees." Maya's heart pounds. She suspects Damien Caldwell might be behind this, using his resources to bolster her defense. There's no time to question the motives, she's just relieved not to face Lucas's lawyers alone. The judge calls them forward. Lucas glances curiously at Charles Grant, then looks at Maya with a flash of hurt realization. She's aligned herself with someone powerful, too, maybe even someone connected to his rival. The hearing begins with both sides presenting their case. Lucas's attorneys argue that he's a fit father, capable of providing financial stability. Charles, however, shifts the focus to Maya's consistent care of Noah, her unrelenting dedication despite limited resources, and the emotional connection the child has with his mother. He speaks passionately about how disruption to that bond could be traumatic. Maya watches Lucas closely. He looks tense, uncertain. For the first time, he's not in total control. The tension thickens as the media peeks in from the gallery, cameras flashing whenever they can. Maya steels herself, determined to fight for the life she's built for Noah. As the day ends, the judge postpones a final decision, requesting further evaluation. But Maya walks out feeling a surge of hope. She's no longer outmatched, and this time, Lucas can't simply steamroll his way to victory. In the days that follow, Maya experiences a curious shift. The public and media buzz from the court hearing has mostly painted her as the underdog, a single mother fighting for her child against a billionaire. People flood social media with messages of encouragement. Her confidence grows, not because she wants attention, but because she finally feels seen for who she is, a caring mother and talented artist, not just someone's ex. She decides to channel her emotional turmoil into her art. The large commission from Damien Caldwell's company is nearing its unveiling, and she's poured her heart into every brushstroke. Her mural tells a story of departure and rebirth, a woman walking away from a gleaming tower, a child in her arms, while a swirl of color suggests hope rising on the horizon. It's raw, it's personal, and it resonates with everyone who's seen previews. Meanwhile, Lucas grapples with the feeling that the ground is shifting beneath his feet. He's always defined himself by power and control, qualities that once helped him dominate boardrooms and climb to the top. Now, watching Maya find her own power, he begins to question his entire worldview. For the first time, he isn't the savior swooping in, he's the outsider looking in. He starts to realize that money can't buy the respect or love he craves. Maya's lawyer, Charles, arranges a mediation session to see if they can avoid a full-blown court battle. There, Maya refuses to let Lucas or his team intimidate her. She's no longer the woman who quietly left a penthouse in tears. She stands tall, setting clear terms. She welcomes Lucas in Noah's life, but only if he proves he can be consistent, caring, and respectful. Everyone in that room can sense the shift. It's as if Maya's discovering the voice she once lost, reclaiming the narrative she never got to finish. As Maya finds her footing, Lucas feels his start to slip. His days at the office turn turbulent. Reporters hound him for sound bites about the custody case. Board members whisper behind closed doors, worried that his personal drama is damaging the company's pristine image. A few major investors privately question his leadership, hinting that a scandal-ridden CEO might not be the face they need. One evening, he paces his opulent penthouse, the same place Maya once called home. He pours himself a drink and stares at the city lights. Normally, he'd relish the skyline view. Now, it just makes him feel lonely. He thinks about Noah, how the child's smile lit up the small apartment when he visited, how he timidly reached out and touched Lucas's tie with curious, tiny fingers. That memory should bring warmth, but all he feels is a mixture of longing and guilt. Unable to focus, Lucas starts rummaging through old drawers, unearthing mementos from his marriage. A photograph of him and Maya at her first art show falls out of a dusty folder. They look so young and in love, standing in front of her painting, wide-eyed with dreams. It's a painful reminder of what he once had and lost through his own neglect. He slumps onto a sleek sofa, the hush of the empty penthouse echoing around him. Work no longer distracts him. Ambition rings hollow. He realizes he's floundering in unfamiliar territory, an emotional quagmire he can't buy or maneuver his way out of. In a moment of desperation, he dials his assistant, instructing her to clear his schedule. He needs time to think, to figure out how to be a better father and maybe, just maybe, find a way to mend the bridge he burned with Maya. Late one night, Lucas finds himself sorting through boxes of Maya's old belongings that were shoved into storage. He's not sure why he's torturing himself, but he can't stop. Hidden beneath stacks of old sketches and fabric swatches, he discovers a worn leather journal, Maya's diary. His hand shakes as he flips it open, unsure if he should read her private thoughts. But curiosity and guilt urge him on. The entries start light, reflecting the optimism of their early relationship. Pages about falling in love, about how Lucas's ambition sparked her imagination. She'd scribbled little sketches in the margins, tiny hearts, rough drafts of paintings, doodles of them dancing. Then, as the pages turn, the tone darkens. The entries describe her loneliness. She writes about nights waiting for him to come home, dinners gone cold, and the ache of feeling invisible. Lucas's throat tightens when he reads an entry dated around the time she must have discovered her pregnancy. She wrote, "I've never felt so alone. He says he's doing this for us, but he's not here. I want to tell him about the baby, but every time I try, he's in a meeting or I lose my nerve. I'm scared to raise this child alone, but more scared of living like this." He exhales a shuddering breath, tears burning in his eyes. Everything he'd convinced himself about their split, that she overreacted, that he was just busy building a future, crumbles in the face of her raw pain. She was crying out for connection, and he'd missed it. He flips to the last page, a scrawled note, "If I don't leave now, I'll never have the strength to. Goodbye, Lucas." The diary slips from his hand as he stares at the ceiling, heart pounding with regret. This isn't just about fatherhood, it's about the love he failed to nurture. And for the first time, he understands the depth of the wound he inflicted on Maya's soul. In the midst of personal chaos, Lucas faces a crisis at his company. A major scandal erupts when leaked documents reveal that an executive inside his firm manipulated stock options for personal gain. The media pounces, speculating that the CEO was too distracted by his custody battle to keep a watchful eye. Investors panic, the stock price wobbles, and board members demand swift action. Lucas steps into the boardroom, tension bristling in the air. The usual confidence that carried him through tough negotiations has vanished. He's juggling a fatherhood revelation, a potential lawsuit from shareholders, and a moral reckoning for letting corruption fester under his nose. The next few days become a haze of crisis management. He fires the responsible executive, issues a public statement condemning the wrongdoing, and promises an internal audit. Still, the scandal feels like a harbinger of something bigger, an unraveling of the polished image Lucas cultivated for so long. Investors question his leadership. Shareholders wonder if he's too consumed by personal matters to steer the ship. Some wonder if a fresh face might be needed at the helm. Lucas tries to hold everything together, but cracks form in his once impenetrable fortress. Late at night, he finds himself in his corner office, the city below shining like a distant galaxy. In front of him, a half-empty glass of water trembles with each stressed tap of his finger on the desk. He knows this threat isn't just financial, it's existential. If he loses the company he built from scratch, what remains? The thought terrifies him, but a part of him whispers that maybe he's been clinging too tightly to this empire, using it as a shield from the pain he caused Maya. He closes his eyes, exhaustion tugging at every muscle. The scandal might be the wake-up call he needs to understand that real success can't be measured in stock prices alone, and that ignoring the people who matter has consequences both in business and in life. While Lucas wrestles with corporate fires, Maya prepares for the grand unveiling of her mural at Damien Caldwell's new headquarters. The event is a high-profile affair, attracting art critics, social media influencers, and business elite. Maya steps onto the polished marble floor, Noah's hand in hers, her heart hammering with nervous excitement. She spots Damien across the lobby, greeting guests with a confident smile. He beckons her over, praising her for the masterpiece she's created. The mural towers above the crowd, a captivating blend of swirling colors, symbolic silhouettes, and raw emotion. At the center is a figure that closely resembles Maya, though faceless, holding a small child. In the background looms a tall structure akin to a skyscraper, but it's abstract, dissolving into tendrils of smoke and money symbols. The piece feels both personal and universal, telling a story of leaving behind a life that no longer fits, searching for freedom and growth. Gasps and murmurs fill the hall as attendees take in the artwork's emotional weight. A few approach Maya, asking about her inspiration. She answers with measured honesty, explaining it's about transformation, about breaking free from a place where love is lost in the shuffle of power. Damien's associates nod appreciatively, some exchanging telling glances, clearly aware of the drama unfolding between Maya and Lucas in the headlines. Maya catches a glimpse of a news camera crew filming the mural, presumably for a segment on rising artists. She's never imagined she would stand in a place like this, receiving accolades for her work. Deep down, she hopes people also notice the subtle message that women, especially mothers, can reclaim their destiny even after life deals them a crushing blow. As she steps away from the crowd, Noah tugging playfully at her skirt, Maya smiles. She's finally found her voice again, and it's resonating with more people than she ever thought possible. In the days following the mural's unveiling, Maya's name surges in popularity. Social media lights up with photos of her artwork, with many praising her authenticity and raw storytelling through color and form. Meanwhile, the press begins to see her less as a victim and more as a rising star in the art world, a mother who held her ground and produced something remarkable despite immense pressure. Public opinion shifts even further when images of her powerful mural circulate alongside clips of Lucas's ongoing corporate scandal. In contrast to her moment of artistic triumph, he's portrayed as a magnate on the verge of losing control. Many can't help drawing parallels between the meltdown in Lucas's empire and Maya's newfound success. People start calling her a visionary artist, echoing a phrase once reserved for Lucas's business acumen. When reporters try to interview Maya about her ex-husband's troubles, she remains composed. She refuses to ridicule Lucas, instead shifting focus to her work and the broader message of resilience. Her dignity and grace under scrutiny deepen the public's admiration. Mothers across the internet champion her as an example of what it means to fight for independence and still maintain compassion. Lucas watches these developments from his office, each headline twisting the knife a bit deeper. He feels a mixture of pride, Maya's talent always deserved recognition, and regret that he never supported her like this when they were together. He sees her painting in news articles and can't deny how the depicted figure reminds him of the memories chronicled in her diary. It's a stark reminder of how he once turned a blind eye to her creative gifts. For Maya, this moment is both surreal and empowering. She's no longer defined solely by her relationship to Lucas. She's charting her own course, leaving behind the shadow of being the billionaire's wife. And with every glowing review, she feels another piece of her heart heal. Beset by his own troubles, Lucas starts to suspect there's more to the internal scandals rattling his company. Financial documents don't add up, and one name keeps cropping up: Damien Caldwell. His old rival seems to have knowledge of private deals and is curiously positioned to benefit from Lucas's downfall. Lucas's mind races. Could Damien be orchestrating a subtle sabotage? Fueled by mounting paranoia, Lucas digs deeper. He calls in auditors, reviews email chains, and conducts late-night meetings with trusted executives. The deeper he goes, the more he realizes his corporate fortress had cracks for a while, and Damien's people might have slid in through those gaps. The sense of betrayal stings, but a darker fear grips him when he thinks about Damien's new friendship with Maya. Initially, Lucas frowns at the idea that Maya might be involved. He can't imagine she'd stoop to conspiring against him just to exact revenge. Yet, doubts gnaw at him. She's working with Damien, a known adversary who would love nothing more than to see Lucas dethroned. Lucas wonders if his personal missteps gave Damien the perfect chance to strike. He's well aware of how business rivalries can blur into personal vendettas. In an unguarded moment of weakness, Lucas contemplates calling Maya and demanding explanations, asking if Damien has been feeding her legal team, if she knew about the sabotage. But each time he lifts his phone, he pictures her tearful face, the baby clutched in her arms, the humiliation she endured. Guilt forces him to lower the phone. He has no right to throw accusations without proof. After all, he's the one who drove her away in the first place. Lucas resolves to quietly gather hard evidence instead. This time, he won't act on hunches or throw around his power. He'll find the truth the same way he neglected to find it before, by patiently listening and observing, for once setting aside his ego. Late one evening, while scouring financial reports in his office, Lucas receives a message from an anonymous whistleblower. It contains an attachment of damning emails implicating Damien Caldwell in a scheme to leak negative press about Lucas, manipulate shares of Lucas's company, and quietly purchase them through shell corporations. The scale of the betrayal is staggering. Even more shocking is the mention of a separate fund set aside for legal aid, the same top-tier legal firm Maya now has on her side. Lucas's pulse thunders as realization washes over him. Damien has been orchestrating a slow takedown of Lucas, exploiting every weak spot: his failing marriage, the custody battle, the scandal. The overshadowed detail: it seems Damien once held a grudge against Lucas from years ago. The final lines of the email even say, "He took my promotion. He cost me my dreams. Now he'll see what it's like to lose." Lucas slumps back in his chair, a bitter taste in his mouth. Damien was once a close friend, almost like a brother. They'd started in the same company before Lucas branched off to build his own empire, overshadowing Damien's ambitions. Lucas had no idea the depth of that resentment, or that it would manifest in such a patient, insidious revenge. Amid this revelation, one question looms. Did Maya know? The messages are vague on her direct involvement. They paint a picture of Damien funding her legal battle, likely with the hope of further destabilizing Lucas. But there's no mention of Maya conspiring to harm him. Lucas clenches his fists, torn between feeling betrayed and oddly relieved that no clear evidence points to Maya's involvement in the sabotage. He leans forward, adrenaline surging. This is a war Damien has been waging in the shadows. Lucas knows if he exposes Damien, he could salvage what's left of his company. Yet, a flicker of fear remains. Because in the crossfire, Maya could get hurt if the public sees her as an accomplice. And Lucas can't bear the thought of destroying her hard-won peace, even if she rejects him forever. Unaware of the secrets unraveling behind the scenes, Maya focuses on her newfound momentum. She channels the attention from her mural into launching an art and wellness foundation aimed at helping single mothers. She's seen firsthand how draining it can be to juggle work, childcare, and emotional well-being. With some of the earnings from her mural commission, plus donations from supportive patrons, she secures a small space for workshops, childcare services, and therapeutic art classes. Noah toddles around the new facility on opening day, giggling as he explores the bright hallways decorated with Maya's paintings. Several women show up for an introductory class, each carrying their own stories of struggle. Maya stands at the front, greeting them with a welcoming smile. She knows all too well that single parenthood can feel like a lonely battlefield. Her vision is simple: a safe place where mothers can connect, heal through creativity, and gain a sense of community. Word spreads, and soon, notable philanthropic organizations take notice. Maya's foundation garners positive press coverage, overshadowing the gossip of her personal drama. She feels a rush of pride reading articles that celebrate her philanthropic efforts rather than dissect her relationship with Lucas. Even so, she can't help remembering how that relationship shaped her path here. She wouldn't have found this purpose if she hadn't walked away from a life of silent suffering. During the foundation's first fundraising event, donors are impressed by Maya's sincerity and the tangible impact she hopes to make. She catches sight of cameras documenting the event, and a hint of self-consciousness creeps in. But she stands tall, reminding herself that she's here by her own merits. Each day, she grows more confident that this new empire, rooted in compassion rather than control, will serve as a beacon of light for women who once felt trapped by circumstances beyond their control. One evening, after weeks of radio silence, Lucas surprises Maya by attending a community gathering at her foundation. He steps into the modest hall, his presence eliciting hushed whispers. Some mothers shoot him wary looks, recognizing him from tabloid headlines. Maya, guiding a group of women through an art activity, straightens up when she sees him. Her pulse quickens, uncertain if he's here to stir trouble or genuinely show support. Tentatively, Lucas approaches a table displaying children's paintings. He picks up a small canvas with big, messy swirls of color. It's labeled with Noah's name in shaky handwriting. A gentle smile softens his face. Maya watches him carefully, recalling all the times she longed for him to share in her world of art. Now he stands here, dwarfed by an environment of warmth and community. When the activity concludes, he steps forward, hands tucked in his pockets. "I didn't come to make a scene," he begins, voice subdued. "I just wanted to see what you're doing here. It's impressive." Maya sees genuine regret in his eyes, a stark contrast to his usual corporate confidence. The tension in the air thickens as the crowd looks on, curious. She nods, gesturing for him to speak privately in a corner of the room. There, he admits he might have rushed into the custody battle with lawyers and big plans, forgetting to consider Maya's feelings. "I'm sorry," he says quietly. "I want to co-parent with you properly, without PR statements or legal threats." His words sound earnest, and Maya's defenses waver slightly. She recalls countless nights wishing he'd open up, be vulnerable and real. Yet, she can't ignore the past. So she nods cautiously. "We'll take it one step at a time," she concedes. Their conversation is brief but significant. A small olive branch extended, leaving Maya to wonder if Lucas can really change or if this is just another temporary performance. While Lucas edges toward reconciliation with Maya, the corporate storm at his company intensifies. Board members who once sang his praises now question his ability to lead. They're nervous about the ongoing scandals, whispering about a leadership change. In a decisive move, they convene an emergency board meeting, one that Lucas initially believes he can handle. After all, he's faced down hostile takeovers before. Yet, when he enters the boardroom, he senses a shift in the air. Several key members, trusted allies, avoid his gaze. Others grimly page through files. The board chair clears his throat, announcing that, given the negative press and plunging share prices, they're considering removing Lucas as CEO. Shock reverberates around the table. Lucas tries to remain calm, but his voice trembles as he defends his record of building the company from the ground up. He highlights the steps he's taken to address the scandal, claiming it was orchestrated by an external saboteur, referencing new evidence pointing to Damian Caldwell's interference. But the board members are resolute. One by one, they indicate they've lost confidence in Lucas's leadership. They don't want a drawn-out battle with a damaged figurehead. The final blow lands when they mention Maya's new foundation partnering with some of the company's biggest philanthropic investors. Behind the scenes, many of these investors have quietly shifted their support to Maya's cause, inadvertently making Lucas look irrelevant in his own domain. Ultimately, the board votes to oust Lucas from the CEO position, offering him a lesser role if he'll accept it. The meeting ends in stunned silence. As Lucas steps out, briefcase in hand, he realizes that the empire he'd sacrificed everything to build now stands beyond his control. And ironically, the woman he once overlooked is soaring to new heights, championed by some of the same allies who deserted him. The irony isn't lost on him. The very tower he erected to overshadow others is no longer his to command. Not long after his boardroom defeat, Lucas arranges a private meeting with Maya. He asks her to meet at a small cafe, far from the prying eyes of reporters. When she arrives, wearing a modest coat and a determined expression, he feels a pang of nostalgia. He remembers the times they'd huddled in coffee shops, sharing dreams and stolen kisses before success swallowed him. They sit at a corner table. He's nervous, words don't come easily anymore. Finally, he clears his throat. "I lost the company," he says flatly, glancing at his coffee cup. Maya's eyes widen, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. She nods sympathetically but doesn't gloat. "I heard," she replies quietly. Lucas proceeds to lay out what he's discovered: Damien's orchestrations, the sabotage, the fueling of legal battles. Maya listens with calm composure. "I didn't know about his deeper motives," she says, voice laced with regret. "I only saw a chance to support my art, to stand on my own feet. I never asked him to tear you down." He believes her. There's a vulnerability in her eyes that suggests she's speaking the truth. Then, in a move that stuns him, Maya slides a neatly folded paper across the table, documents related to a potential partnership with his former board members. She explains that she didn't orchestrate anything, but her foundation has gained influence. And yes, some of the board members approached her about philanthropic initiatives. This wasn't revenge, she insists, meeting his gaze. It was survival. Lucas exhales, a part of him expecting a triumphant "I told you so" from her. But she offers compassion instead. "I never wanted your destruction. I only wanted you to see me, to see us." The final lines hang heavy in the air. Lucas realizes how much he's lost, professionally, personally, and how easily this woman could have crushed him if she'd chosen. Instead, she offers a quiet form of reconciliation. He swallows hard, unsure if he can ever truly make amends, but determined to at least try. They move to a nearby park bench, the air crisp as leaves flutter around them. Maya clutches a light scarf, and Lucas leans forward, elbows on his knees. The hush of this shared moment feels sacred. He admits that losing the company might have been the harsh lesson he needed. "Money can't buy back the time I missed with Noah," he says, voice tight. Maya places a hand over his, not out of romance but out of understanding. She knows the cost of regret. She also knows that healing begins where blame ends. Looking into his eyes, she says, "I'm willing to give co-parenting a real chance, Lucas. But only if you're sincere. No more legal tricks, no more half-hearted apologies. Noah deserves better than that." Lucas nods, pulling a sheaf of papers from his jacket. They're custody documents detailing an amicable arrangement that gives Maya primary care while granting Lucas generous visitation. He's even included clauses about mutual respect and the necessity of prioritizing Noah's emotional well-being. Maya scans them, relieved by the straightforward language. She's cautious, but hope flickers in her chest. As for them as ex-spouses, there's no immediate talk of reconciliation. Too much damage has been done, and they're not sure if love can be salvaged. But there's a warmth in the air, a sense that they're finally seeing each other as individuals rather than adversaries. Maya thanks him, her eyes mist with tears. She's spent so long fighting alone. It feels surreal to have Lucas stand by her side, even if it's just for their son. Before leaving, Lucas turns to her. "I don't expect forgiveness," he says quietly, "but I want you to know I'm sorry. For everything." She nods, hugging Noah close as he squirms in her arms. "It's a start," she replies. They part ways under the golden trees, carrying a tentative hope that some broken pieces can still be pieced back together. A few months later, Maya hosts an art exhibition showcasing pieces made by single mothers from her foundation. The event is lively, filled with families and supporters. Little Noah toddles around, gleefully pointing at colorful canvases. Maya, wearing a simple yet elegant dress, greets guests and beams with genuine happiness. She's found her balance, an identity that thrives not just on survival but on creativity and community. Near the back of the gallery, Lucas stands quietly, hands in his pockets. He's no longer the imposing CEO in a flashy suit. Dressed more casually, he looks more at peace, as if shedding the corporate throne has allowed him to discover a simpler self. He observes Maya from a distance, proud of her accomplishments. Occasionally, he helps wrangle Noah, who excitedly rushes between them. It's a delicate dance, neither friend nor enemy, but parents learning to navigate co-parenting in a healthier way. A hush falls over the room when Maya steps up to a small microphone. She thanks everyone for their support and explains how this project has helped her heal. There's applause, warm and genuine. Then she spots Lucas in the crowd and a thoughtful smile graces her lips. She acknowledges him too, not by name but with a nod that speaks volumes of gratitude and acceptance. As the evening winds down, Maya walks over to Lucas. They exchange a few soft words about the exhibition's success. He doesn't push for more. Instead, he shows interest in Noah's new drawings, kneeling to admire the toddler's scribbles. This tender moment is enough. For now, it's everything. They're forging a new path, one that leaves room for growth, respect, and the possibility of love in some changed form. The final twist, quietly lurking in Maya's thoughts, is that this entire encounter at the bus stop months ago wasn't accidental. She chose the place deliberately, a location loaded with memories. She wanted Lucas to see Noah. She wanted closure, but she also wanted a chance to reclaim her story. And now, as she stands in her vibrant new world, she knows she's done exactly that. Share your comments, perspectives, and lessons learned down in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share with friends who might enjoy this story. Thank you for joining us on this journey.